sort of a small amount of overlap that they need to think about in terms of if these 4 staffs or Lotus Orbs come out for Into the Breach especially, that's where I'm seeing the overlap come in, right? Because Bat hates playing against those items, Clock hates playing against those items, Beast doesn't like playing against those items, the Link gets reflected or 4-staffed out of it. So there's definitely some overlap in itemization that might hurt them down the stretch, but where their lineup excels is in terms of playing the map, right? Bat Rider punishes the lane shove really hard. The Beast, he has a pretty free game in terms of his board interactions, and there's not a lot of AoE or frontlining that's going to deal with him. And so these heroes can force Into the Breach off of jungle areas and set up plays with the Clock and Isle being able to reload in, run the Razor in. So it's a pretty interesting setup to the game. I think Into the Breach's 5-man is a little stronger, but if they fall behind, could get rough to get there on even footing.
We'll definitely see Entity try and push that. As the panel mentioned, imagine that later on things are going to fall into sort of the Luna territory in comparison to Entity. But I guess at the same time, we have seen Razor match up very nice against these sort of cores that used to do a little better on as the game goes on, with Razor just sort of being the beast that he is nowadays, especially when he's played in the safe lane. Of course, Chrysalis with him in his hands. We'll see how the lanes begin. Mid lane, the Bat versus the Void Spirit. But yeah, overall, this Bat pick, it's not a game where the Bat's like, you see the Bat and it's GG, right? Because they do, as you say, they've got means to deal with it and they'll have items to do so as well. It's not like a free game for Stormer.
I think the Bat has some good timings in terms of just being able to run in if you can ever lasso an OD or a Luna. There's no Dispel, there's no save. He has to get charged for it to get stopped, and that isn't the easiest thing to pull off. So I think he has a good game in that sense, but they did get the counter pick on the lane in Void Spirit, which is a matchup a lot of Void Spirit players are very comfortable playing, and Bat's just not going to accelerate as fast as he normally would in a totally free matchup, right? I doubt he'll get a solo kill or anything like that. And again, it might just come down to those power runes later on. I always talk about these Spirit heroes and Bat Rider, these mobility mids in general. Whoever gets these power runes can really get a huge advantage for their team in terms of it opens up your side lane gank ability potential. It opens up the solo kill potential in the mid lane. Yeah. So I think that's something really to look at. And that's where the Spear Breaker or this Clock are 2 great heroes in contesting those runes. They can turn the mid matchups. Because these days it's really hard to just gank mid. There's too many runes, too many resources. People are usually too high HP. Void Spirit's going to have stick charges. So it's unlikely someone gets super low mid and you just charge or hook and gank them. But where you can turn that matchup is in terms of the rune control. Even those back bounty runes, we saw it a little bit yesterday. You steal those up, that's where you can affect the resource exchange and kind of set up your mid for success in this game.
And of course, as you mentioned, some of the heroes that can make the move. See, bottom lane, Symmetrical will always have the answer. Chrysalis starting to get that link going. When sort of those heroes make the move towards mid, are there going to be some lanes where there will be vulnerabilities? Like, how safe will the Razor be down here when sort of Clock tries to make the move to look over towards those runes?
I think he's pretty safe until this hammer comes out, which is a long way off. Unless he's strictly in a 1v2 for a while, right? Which generally you almost never want to leave your safe lane or 1v2 too early in the game. And this mid rotation for Clock is, again, he's not interacting with his Void Spirit that well, so it's more of like a rune play. Yeah. Specific timings when the breaker's off the lane too. And those are also his timings where, let's say the breaker leaves the lane, he can go in with this Razor, as we're seeing here. And if you're ever in these 2-on-1 isolation scenarios, that's where Clock thrives. And you have to be careful with this hero on the side. So he might just prefer to play the lane, screw the runes. I don't care. Let my back at the runes. I'm going to kill the lane.
I mean, yeah, if they can keep this up, of course, it's not going to be nice for the Spirit Breaker to play around with. While the safe lane of Into the Breach, of course, they're going to struggle much more to really find kill opportunities. IO constantly having the backup here for the Beastmaster.
Yeah, and I hate playing Ogre versus IO lanes. It just feels miserable.
What, your damage is just wasted, or?
Yeah, I mean, Ogre's a hero that's designed to bully the early waves to gain an advantage and then use his cheap nukes to snowball that regen resource to gain leverage for your carry, but how do you do that versus IO? He's just sitting there regenning up. He doesn't care if you burn his regen because he just gets extra value out of it. And as we're seeing here, you're just going to lose the trades over long term. And
massively, yeah.
It's rough.
I mean, he tries to lead up with an Ignite. They just don't care at all.
Yep.
That Ignite, especially on the early levels, is going to do nothing against this duo. They're more than happy to fight through it. As we saw, they're charging at them, forcing Into the Breach back underneath their tower.
And I don't think this lane really gets better for the Luna over time either. Like I said, they don't really have a way to deal with these boars too well, so Beastmaster's already level 3. This is his first level 2 board timing. Once he gets to level 5, it's going to be hard for Luna to stay on this lane. You just run her down.
Yeah.
I mean, what's stopping them, right?
No, so it's a great start here for Toby and Katomi.
Now, this is one way you can salvage this if you get these boar kills, but unfortunately with the deny there, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
But if you ever get those boar kills, then you get the level advantage. Then you can kind of rack up the aggressive potential.
They're looking at Katomi, but again, they're just having to run. The spirits are out.
I think the spirit build is also something interesting we've seen IO players consider more, at least since TI. It started to happen a bit more at TI as well. We used to just see the default 404, max that overcharge, just play off the right clicks, but getting these early spirits, it can pay off in some of these lanes where you have that aggressive rundown potential. You just surprise people with the damage.
Bottom lane, the struggles continuing for Into the Breach. Crystallis getting a very nice long static link, and the two of them also pushed under the tower. Mid lane, good start here for Xantic. And we have seen that Xantic on his Spirit Heroes have huge impact in the games. So this time, once more, we've got to watch out. Once that 6 is there, Xantic will be very ready to turn up. And with the way that Entity have been pushing into the breach right underneath their towers, this could lead to perfect situations for Xantic to come in with some solid ganks.
Yep, there's a lot of turnaround potential in this game. I think whenever you look at an IO lineup, this IO's, he's always looking at mid, right? You overextend on mid, he's going to TP in. The Bat's looking on his side lanes if you overextend on a side lane. And I think this is a scenario where this Void Spirit wants to make something happen, but it's not that easy for him to just force the issue because the turnaround potential is just too high. And if you make the move and you get turned around upon, now you lose almost double the momentum in the game, right? Because it's a huge resource take from your mid, who he doesn't get the rune here. It's even more unfortunate. And then he has to come out of base after he dies in a play that gets turned around. So it's almost like a game of chicken. Who's going to blink first and overextend just that little bit that turns into one of these side lane skirmishes.
Top lane, Tana. I mean, they'll try and make moves on Toby, but with the sustain of Katomi, it's not an easy kill to have. Toby able to easily walk that off.
I mean, he's already up to Helm. It's not an easy kill.
No. Even if you do bring in a Xantic, it's not necessarily going to be guaranteed either. That's a lot of sustain and tankiness here early on. See bottom, Symmetrical, he has used the Astral, so a bit of an opening for Crystallis to try and get in. Come up with the charge to hold him back, but they'll still be able to run down the OD, get the kill.
Yeah, very nice. These kills on clock mean a lot. This is one of the heroes that probably uses early game kills the best in terms of how much it changes his game. The flow of a Clockwork, getting early kills and getting to a fast level 4 or 5 with boots is a completely different hero than if you're stuck at level 3.
Especially against some of these heroes. Tana not having fun in this lane. Fishman is completely handling Tana. I mean, we saw Tana look for something up the top lane. It's because it feels like he just can't really play bottom. This clock has made this lane now unplayable, especially with the kills coming in for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's feeling really good. I would just keep killing this lane, right? I mean, until this OD gets the hammer, there isn't that much turnaround potential. And Clock is one of the better heroes interacting with this OD hammer in general for most of the game. I mean, you go up and hammer a tower, you're just giving him the easiest hook shot of his life.
Yeah, he's going to be straight in on top of you. Especially when you want to be using that Astral offensively to set up the combo. It leaves you no sort of defensive measures if Fishman gets on top of you.
This game is looking rough for Into the Breach, though, already, because, again, this beast, no one can come up here and really deal with him. He's having a free game. He's the highest net worth. I mean, he's going to kill this tower just by forcing the Luna off of it.
What's sort of the plan from Xantic? You know, what's Xantic going to be looking towards as a spirit to turn things around? This is a good attempt here with a Meteor. They'll come crashing down, but it's going to be LeBron to fall and nothing quite to back up that attempted turnaround by Symmetrical. And Xantic's leading him with an Invis. It's going to make the jump for Stormer. Hasn't quite got the initial burst, pushed back by the cogs. And with the 2 steps already used, he's got nowhere to close in onto Stormer. The Bat's able to step away. They don't find the kill. That top tower taken out by Toby and Katomi's push. 3K lead already at 8 minutes in. This is a very hot start for Entity.
Yep, bottom lane went their way with the early Clockwork kills, so he's snowballing. Top was just utter destruction. I think that lane, unless you win it on the level 1, which didn't happen, it's a brain dead lane for Beast. Yeah. It's just, He's going to get his helm, he's going to get his level 3 boards, so they have to either bring a bunch of heroes to contest and kick this beast out of their jungle, which is a huge committal, or he's just going to continually apply the pressure. So it looks like they're going to try and kick him out.
Yeah, they'll get the IO. Now we'll see Toby use the movement speed buff to head away from this one. Now coming in with the charge. Can they bring him down? Xantic, what's he got? He's got a step, but no point yet in the Remnant, so they won't have the control, and they know it. With the amount of time they've spent chasing Toby, there's going to be backup coming in up top.
I mean, this is 4 heroes contesting 1, right? On a far jungle camp. There's a lot of space on the map.
Yeah, Fishman able to come in and block him off. And Xantic is trying for Fishman, but he hasn't got the control or the damage alone, especially to fight through the sustain that Katami's going to be able to provide as an IO. As, yeah, 4 heroes from Into the Breach, spending a lot of time there, nothing to be found.
Yeah, there's not even much to gain out of this entire contest, right? Beast is happy to have 4 heroes watch his HOD run away. I mean, you know, he's just giving his team the entire vision, the entire map to play. His Razor's free farming, his Bat's free farming, basically up to the bots at exactly 10 minutes. Clock's level 5. They're getting everything they want. This IO's already 6, he has Relo up. So this bottom lane isn't even that safe for OD, right? Because this Clockwork can solo set up on him with a Relo in, and he doesn't have a way to get out of that. So he doesn't want to play too aggressive on this bottom lane, which, as we see, this bottom tier 1 is full HP. And this feels really bad for an offlane OD who wants to be able to get the value out of the hammer and start opening up the map.
Yeah, it just feels very difficult for Into the Breach to play aggressively as they want to with this hammer OD with Xantic on the Void Spirit, because of the way that Entity will manage to respond, unless they can just get the quick kill done so quickly. They've got to do it at a timing that leaves no chance for Katami to bring him back up.
Even the smoke, they feel like there's nowhere to go, right? They're just kind of hovering in the jungle. They smoke 2 heroes, and now they're just going to run away. So they feel like the map is very claustrophobic, and the turnaround potential is too high. And I think in these situations, it can happen a lot in Dota. You need to force the issue somewhere and be cognizant that the turnaround is going to come and try and bait it out. So you want to go on somebody or dive a tower, fake the go, get a Relo out, get some TPs out, force some action from the enemy so that these options go down, and then you can make a smoke play. But just smoking up when the Relo's up, all their TPs are up, maybe they're together under a tower, the play option just isn't going to be there. I mean, how do you dive a 1400 HP Razor under a safe lane tower when there's this Relo threat up? It's just way too difficult. So you have to force the action out somewhere else so you can get a numbers advantage somewhere else on the map.
And who on Into the Breach should be looking to force that? I mean, are you moving with the whole squad to force something, or is it just a couple of heroes starting a poke? Like, how do you find that sort of opening to get yourself back in after a rough laning phase?
It's definitely difficult just because the Beast can force so much response on his own. Like, he's basically constantly forcing a number advantage just through his summons at this point in the game. But I think it has to just come from either the OD forcing the issue at a tower like this, or Void Spirit finding an opening in one of the jungle areas with his supports, which they tried to do to a certain extent, but this is just a slow process, and Beast is just trading faster.
Yeah, Toby Katami and Storm are just cutting down towers. As this one will go, no chance for Into the Breach to try any sort of defense. Stormer, he'll happily drop the lasso to pick up a kill. It's been pretty slow in the kill department. So Entity always happy to throw some ults out to get these kills and just keep the game in a state that makes it very hard for Into the Breach to pull together any sort of group move.
Yeah, they're not giving them too many openings here. I'd say it's either you smoke and try and kill this Beast, which is really hard because by the time you smoke on him, you're basically chasing him to the corner of this map. It's a pretty low probability kill. Or you can maybe smoke and kill someone on mid lane. Mid lane's another one of these areas where they can generally overextend on this area because they feel very confident shoving it in and trying to give us a super valuable vision. But Void Spirit double dash into a pull on Bat, you charge him afterwards, is another area they can get this kill. I really like how Crystallis played this game too. He defended his bottom tower for a huge amount of time, and he stayed down here. Because he knows he's stronger, he knows he's tanky, and he wants to abuse this IO. So he doesn't want to give this OD this tower for free, and he doesn't want to give Into the Breach this opening that they really want in terms of how to play the map. I like that they're defending this too. This should go well for them.
So what they're going to do, Flame Break, not back onto Symmetrical. They'll come out with the Self-Astral. They'll try and go for the Eclipse. Fishman's just going to throw himself right in on top of the Luna. OD will fall, the Luna as well. Tanner charges in, but they've already lost 2. They'll go in with the combo of the Void Spirits. They'll kill Stormer, but it's cost them 3 heroes. Maybe more if Crystallis can get his hands on Tanner, and he can. The Eye of the Storm hits come out. Triple kill for Crystallis. And Xantic also having to head back. A 4-for-1 trade into the breach. They try for something down bottom, but the Entity just make it too easy holding onto that tower and turning the fight around.
Yeah, this is just where the turnaround potential that we talked about is way too high, right? Razor just runs in. He doesn't care who's here. He's basically a 2,500 HP hero with IO tethered to him. Bat gets the TP on the tower. Clock has the freest hookshot of his life. And into the breach just doesn't have the early damage to be able to take these heroes down before the stack damage of the Bat and the stack damage of Razor ulti adds up. So this is a really, really large move in the game. It takes a lot of the tempo, and
Stormer, he's been able to find the grab onto the Luna at the same time. Hookshot into Cogs. They've caught Symmetrical and LeBron at the back of it. They'll swing over towards them as well. And Xantic's going to jump in with the Remnant, but he's off the mark. Doesn't get a catch, so LeBron still to fall into the breach. They'll try and turn with the Astral Hammer combo onto Fishman. Charge across them all from Tanner. They'll burst Fishman, but it will cost Tanner his life. And Xantic desperately trying to get back up to the high ground here, but he's low on mana. The Spirit Hits are going to be coming in. Crystallis, he wants to go for this. He'll have another field in a second, and Xantic turns with the Yules, but the Spirits will finish him off. Kataumi takes him down behind his tier 4.
the glyph, though.
He'll die for it, but a trade that he'll happily have dove for, as that's the mid going down, and Xantic's game continuously just getting slowed down as they kill him off.
Pig pole coming in handy there. Get that extra little gap close for the spirits to hit.
Yeah, you can't underestimate that little movement speed buff.
Yep. And they're going to go straight into the Roche. Early Vlad's on the Beast. Just no way to contest this.
There we go, Tanner. He's going to try and get in for the big interruption, but he's going to get stopped. Hook shot and the Roar. Tanner, he'll go down. LeBron, nothing to be had here. Xantic's going to jump in, but he just hasn't got the damage to fight the 4 of them. He's got to get back out as quickly as he jumped into the action. As Entity, they'll finish this Roche. It'll be all theirs as they can keep the pressure up. 15-4, 6k lead.
Now you have an Aegis on Batrider, and they are still defending this bottom tower. Where does this Luna have to go to farm?
It's hard. Difficult game for Luna to find any safe spot.
I mean, this hero farms fast. Her net worth looks high, but this is also a hero that wants to be the highest net worth in the game. Use the early farming rate, be ahead in levels. You know, you look at this net worth and you go, it doesn't look that bad. But in reality, if you're behind a Razor with a Luna, it's not the greatest place to be in. And it just represents how contained this map has been for Into the Breach. Again, this Beastmaster is just doing a huge amount of intangible work in this game. And he's already up to Helm of the Overlord. It's an amazing timing for them. This is a really difficult fight.
Tanner coming in with a charge, not back for the flame break. Hook shot from Fishman, finishes off LeBron. They're trying to run, but the slows and the chase is too much. Fishman jumping forward here with the Tumbler's Toy to block off their escape with the Cogs. They'll secure the setup for Symmetrical to also go down once more. As it's early days, but this one is looking like a rough one here for the Into the Breach. This is not going to be easy to turn around.
Yeah, by no means. Beastmaster and Bat are two of the heroes in Dota where if you don't have good ways to go and skirmish these heroes early, they just feel way too annoying. They take away too much of your map too fast.
Yeah.
And it's way too easy to get sucked into fighting these heroes. I think the only route to victory almost at this point is to dodge their own jungle, go bottom, bait someone hitting this tower, and try and get a numbers fight. I think they had one window. I mean, this Beast actually still doesn't have a TP, so that window still exists. But there's always this reload potential, right? So that's why these fights bottom just haven't gone that well for them. There's just not that much else they can do in terms of getting an advantageous position.
Top tower taken now up to the double digits. 10k lead, 18 minutes in. DD Rune available here top for the next move. Toby now with the full drums over the upgraded helm. Some very, very quick time is coming out for him. As Entity as a whole, they're 3 cores holding the top spot. Luna still trying to scramble back close. And Xantic on the look down bottom. And Stormer hiding in the trees. He's going to try and start things. Gets the drag back onto Symmetrical, and underneath the tower, that Astral alone buy him a little bit of time. The whole team of Entity pretty much turning up to surround him. He'll pop the ult. It barely tickles them at all.
Setting up on the reload, though. This is one way they can get a numbers advantage, but might just be too slow.
See what they're going to have done here. Luna coming in with the Eclipse, but they're ready to tank it. The BKB is already done and ready for Crystallis. Turns with the static link onto SCL. The Luna goes out. Roar as well. It's going to be close to a cleanup. Only Xantic avoiding this, and they'll tap out. It's a fast one. It's a painful one for Into the Breach. 19 minutes. Losing the game here to Entity as